Yeah.
You bring me up
at the round table with Melvin. I'm your host, Larry Ellison. And we've been with my co-host, my brother from another, Dr. Bradley.
Yeah, I got it now. I'm having some technical difficulties over here. I'm sitting here saying, man, why is not? I hear it. Why am I not hearing anything?
For folks, I have to give you a visual because Dr. Bradley is sitting there thinking that he's getting older and his hearing isn't working. And he's wondering why he's not hearing the broadcast because his headphones are sitting in front of him off his ears. It's probably the reason for that.
Yeah, that would be the reason for it. I'm hearing Pastor, Pastor Wade Walls and everybody actually doing the thing. I was like, what?
Why am I not hearing?
Why am I not hearing something? So okay, man.
Good
I'm good now. I can hear myself. I'm speaking in the mic. The microphone is functioning well. The earphones are functioning well.
All right.
And I'm blessed and highly favored. I think I am. I think I am.
All right. Speaking of blessing, we're gonna let Pastor Hobbs get that done.
Father God, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you to know that you are all powerful and a very present help on the time. And Father, we thank you for this is the day that you made, and we choose to rejoice and be glad in it. We ask you to bless this broadcast, all that's said, all that's done, that you're glorified in and through it. And we count this done in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And we want to thank our sponsor, Guaranteed Rate Mortgage Company. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 781-342-0252. Guaranteed Mortgage is located at 75 State Street in downtown Boston, Mass. Guaranteed Mortgage Company, guaranteed to exceed your expectations. And they're going to be offering. In fact, they were in last week. What a great show that was, Dr. Bradley, with all those folks in here.
Oh yeah, I love it when she comes in.
Yeah, I know.
She comes bearing goods.
It's the only time I know you say, "Hey, I'll be more than happy to give up my seat." And you and Pastor Hobbs, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that before I got an opportunity to partake.
It was pretty good. Yeah. We call it test fire.
Test fire. All right, you took one for the team.
Yeah, I took one for the team.
I appreciate it. You took more than one because I counted. But with that said, actually, they're going to be conducting a home buyer education class this next Saturday, April 2nd, 2022 at 61 Columbia Road, Dorchester, Mass. from 2 to 5 p.m. So if you're interested in buying a home, and folks don't realize is that after 3 years, you're considered a new home buyer. Mm-hmm. So you qualify for a first-time home buyer program. So if you're looking to buy a home, you just come in and get some education. It's free of charge. There'll be some light refreshments served there at the Mail Meal. So it's at the Mail Meal headquarters at 61 Columbia Road. So anyone, just give Mail Meal a call, 617-436-6868. If to register, we're going to post this on our website, on our Facebook page. But then next Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m. at Mail Meal headquarters there. Home buyers.
That's a nice touch, man.
Yeah,
bring people out and teach them how to because that's where your wealth is.
Generational wealth.
Yeah, that's it.
That has been the biggest. Insurance policies, but homeownership. I mean, just think about. We talk about this quite a bit. That if you had bought a home 20, 30 years ago, been in your family all that time, mm-hmm. What it's worth now is just
astronomical.
I mean, my brother just sold a 2-family he had in Dorchester, and when I tell you, it's a public record, so it's not telling a secret. Yeah. It went for $1.1 million for 2-family in an area where you probably could have bought the whole street for that price 15 years ago. So
1.1 mil.
$1.1 million. That's
God bless him.
God bless him. God bless him. I want to say a good morning, a hearty good morning to Brother Harry Scales and brothers and sisters at Prince Hall, continuing to do that work in the community. Also to our sister Mary Franklin out there. Say good morning to her as well. Brother Jamal, talking to him this morning. Good morning to him as well. And
you're going to go to Indiana.
You got your freaking flyer miles.
My brother,
your freaking flyer miles.
Yes, absolutely.
Indiana, here we come.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Brother Bridgeford, down there in Indiana. I hope it's a little warmer down there. We had a nice day, and today is not too bad. It's supposed to be
nice today.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain though. It's supposed to get a little rain in the forecast.
That's nothing but water. It's okay.
Nothing but water. It cleanses our soul.
Yeah, we can still play golf in that.
Yeah. I know. I'm a little disappointed. I'm out of the Final Four. My team lost. My last team I
In
had.
Final Four.
Last team I had in the pool.
Who lost? Purdue.
Gonzaga. No, Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Which was I thought there's only one number one team left in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, St. Peter's is really
Oh, my
playing. I mean,
goodness.
talking about punching
I'm
above their
rooting
weight,
down for
man.
that. I know.
They're punching above their weight.
Historically, they're the first number 15 seed to
Yeah.
make it to
To
Final
the,
Eight.
to
the
the
Sweet
Elite
16.
Eight.
Yeah, and to make it to the Sweet 16.
Who won last? Did UCLA win or North Carolina?
UCLA, I think UCLA won last night.
Okay.
They beat.
So that's who St. Pete's will be playing.
Well, oh, okay. They might have
The
their
winner
hands full.
of that game.
Yeah, they might have their hands full. with
I don't
that.
know, man, because you know what? Purdue, I thought they were going to lose to Purdue. They have a 7-4 center.
No.
7-4, and they have a 6'10". So so they were actually in terms of height, Purdue was huge.
Yeah.
And they were able to dictate the pace of the game, you know.
No, it was exciting, and you have to root for her.
Yeah.
The underdogs.
Yeah,
You know, in this instance, because I mean, here is a team that people. Most people, if you got them in your pick, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a throwaway. There's nothing here." And then to see that they've done so well, it's just phenomenal. So,
God bless them.
yeah, so
You can never tell. You never tell by just the rankings. You know?
right.
You know,
That's all it is.
that's all it is ranking.
Ranking.
You gotta play the game.
Well, look
you
at
know?
I mean, historically, right? We've seen some upsets. I think the last presidential, not this previous one, the prior one was quite upsetting,
Yeah.
stunning. And speaking of which, for folks, if you want to join in the conversation this morning, 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. We're going this morning, like I said, and back in our 8 o'clock hour, Minister Rodney Muhammad is going to be calling in and talk a little bit about. He is opening up a chapter of the Nation of Islam in Cambridge. Tomorrow is going to be, I believe, his inaugural opening there. So he's going to come in and talk about what's going on with the Nation of Islam. So looking forward to that as well. And I was saying to you off air, Dr. Bradley, last night I had the honor of escorting my daughter, my oldest daughter, to father-daughter dance, and I'm still beaming, as you can see.
I
right?
see.
What
Father of the Year.
Oh man, what an experience,
Yeah.
But as I was there with my daughter, I was also commiserating. I said, man, my mom would be so proud to have seen her getting dressed and watching us. My mom is no longer with us, but she's with us in spirit.
Yes.
But also, I thought about, I'm like, I don't see that going on in this community, father-daughter dances and things like that.
So how many people of color was actually at your function?
Well, I don't need my second hand. I think because we all kind of eventually gravitated to each other for that reason, to connect, because we're all living in this town.
There lies the problem with our community. Where other demographics, men, in society can actually do this with regularity. When we do it, it's only a handful of us.
Yeah.
Because the system is designed to, prevent that.
Yeah.
So, we talk about things that we have put in place to help kids and so on and so forth. But what are we doing to actually tear down those barriers to keep the family unit intact? So I think men could do that with their daughters.
Yeah.
And don't have to worry about working multiple jobs because they have, sufficient income to come in, because at the very beginning, they have people like you and myself and Pastor Hobbs in the home to train them and teach them as young men what you need to accomplish in order to be able to have sufficient income coming in so you can do these type of things with your child.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, you're absolutely right. But also, it's incumbent upon us to coordinate those. Like, we don't need to ask for anyone's permission, right?
That's right.
But we have to be honest with a lot of fathers are not connecting with their kids, and
I'm not taking that away.
No, I know you're not.
A lot of fathers, and one of the best privileges that I have ever had in my life and that is one being a father, being a husband, being a brother, being it's just my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being a member of a family that loves me and I love them. You know, and then you can sit back and just see this individual that you have known from the time that she was here
Right.
grow into a mature, educated, loving, God-fearing adult. And I think that, so you're making a positive contribution to society. You know, so in addition to that, you're actually laying the ground rules by which she will enforce when she becomes a woman who actually looking for a man, looking for a mate.
Right.
She's going to say, these are the things that I will not tolerate because my mama never had to do it. You know what I mean? But that's the hit.
I said this off air and I say this on the air. You've been one of the role models in my life. You've been the big brother to me, and watching you and how you've been a husband and a father. But I think even more was watching when you remarried.
Yes.
And for taking kids who were not your biological kids.
Right.
And watching what you had done to blend that family, which that doesn't happen, and that's work. But you did it so seamlessly.
Because it was a blessing, Doc. It's a blessing. I mean, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
God put people in your lives for a reason.
Yeah.
When God gives you a gift, who are you to turn it away?
That is true, but a lot of people don't see it like that. That's what I'm saying, and a lot of folks don't see that as their responsibility.
Yeah.
Like they take on they may take on the mother, or they may take on the father, but they don't take on the children. Like it's not a package deal where you, and I've seen others like you went in and there was no question. Like if someone didn't know that those were not your biological children, they would not see that there was any difference from the way you treated your own children that were your biological children, and that doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't. And my wife and I talk about it a lot, and she tells me how blessed she is to marry a man like me and my daughters. I call them my daughters, who will tell me very quickly, you know what, you are a blessing to us. But my piece as an individual, first of all, I'm a man of God. So when God gives you a gift, who are you to refuse it? Secondly, a child is looking for love, understanding, guidance, protection, providing, all those things that I didn't have in some cases as a child, and until I got older, because my parents were so busy running out, trying to put food on the table, and so what I tried to do is try to be, I was it. You know what I mean? Well, their biological father was doing what he's doing, but I'm it.
Right.
I am what I mean by that, I am the goalpost setter. I am the rule setter. I am the foundation by which they're going to say, this is what my mother went through, and this is what I want. And I tell guys all the time,
you set the standard.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. I set the standard. All right. Thank you for that. It's early in the morning. I couldn't grab it. But
that's why we're here.
I thank you. But that is what, and I see that today, because one of my third child went to Howard, and she came back. She had a friend, and the guy came over and he introduced himself to me, and he said to me, "So you're Willie, huh?" I said, "Yes, I am." What that means? He said, "Man, you're a hard act to follow."
Right. When they're always talking about what my dad did.
Right. That's right. She would always say, "This is what my stepfather did. This is what I'm going to tolerate, and I'm not. He never did this to my mother." And so I knew that they were going to look at me as a standard setter and say, "This is what we're looking for. I'm looking for as a woman."
But also, as I said a few minutes ago, people like myself who've looked up to you. I mean, we met on this job, but our relationship has grown to such a brotherhood, family. We've traveled together, and and we get busy, but that love is never gone.
Amen.
It's like we look out for each other.
Yes, amen. Absolutely.
In a way that I think most people don't know.
Yeah, you looked out for my back. literally. Because that snowblower helped me, dog.
But you talk about that, but to me it wasn't even a thought process that. Like I have something that of value that you could use, right? That I'm not using, right?
I could definitely use it.
and a lot of people still would put a value on it as that. Well, I'm not giving it to you, but I just with family and loved ones like
Yeah.
yourself, I just don't see that because
I definitely appreciate it.
oh, I know you still talk about it,
Man,
and-
that thing moved that snow, so I was like, God, yeah. I was in the house within 15 minutes. What would have taken me about 2 hours?
Yeah.
Because I'm over 60.
No,
You know?
I think you thought I was exaggerating when I said, man, I told him give me the biggest, the baddest, the best.
Man, my
that you
hands
had."
start sweating. My wife was like, why are your gloves wet? I was like, this thing is hot. She was like, whoa.
Heated
It was
too, yeah.
nice heated. So
Yeah,
I do
but,
thank you.
you
And
know.
that was a blessing. I really do appreciate it.
No.
You know, now when it snows, I'm not aggravated. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
But that makes the home happier, right?
Yes, it does.
So you go in the house and, like I say, you all warmed up. The wife
Yeah.
is saying, okay.
Get some hot chocolate, some
Yeah,
soup, and
you
go down
know.
to the man cave, sit back and relax. You know what I mean? Life was good, man. Life
All
was good
the
when-
time.
Although we didn't get much snow, but life was good this
Well,
winter.
listen, now at least you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
At least you're ready for it.
I'm
You
ready.
almost wanted the snow.
That's right. I did. Come on, Snow,
you
come
get
on.
that.
You know what I
You
mean?
get those dudes.
Where are you now?
Hey, I'm ready for you. Come on with it. Come on with it. Come on.
Yeah. You know, speaking of black women, man, I'm really I was really disappointed in what they put out. Our sister
Tataji Brown Jackson. Yeah,
KBJ.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised.
Are you surprised?
You know, I read an article where I guess Holly, or one of those senators from the extreme right,
Oh, yeah,
was
Josh Hawley, yeah.
was asking for her LSAT scores.
Yeah.
LSAT scores. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The woman went to Harvard.
Right.
She graduated with honors from Harvard. Who cares about her LSAT
Because
scores?
what he was trying to do. See, this is like when Lindsey Graham. I think we have a call I'm going to get to. What Lindsey Graham got up and said, the senator from South Carolina, who, and this is why they're so they're so phony, because these are the same people when they run against Trump, talking about bad person, now they can't kiss his behind enough. But what Holly and others were trying to make this out to be, when she is confirmed, and I believe she will be,
I do too.
is that she is an affirmative action pick. She's not qualified. She only got it because she was a black woman, because President Biden said he was going to pick a black woman for the Supreme Court, not one that's not qualified. Matter of fact, she's more qualified than all of them. Matter of fact, and she alluded to that in her testimony, that she has more experience and more than any of them that currently
That's
sit
right.
on
Exactly.
the court.
Because she was a public defender.
That's right.
None of them,
Right.
none of them currently sitting have ever done that.
Ne-
that
they've
task.
never been a
You know,
person.
and so this is typical history in America. Whenever
Right.
it's up for black people,
Right.
there's got to be some kind of undercurrent, undergirding rationale to
Right.
put them in that area.
Unless you're like a Clarence Thomas, which we're going to talk about,
Oh,
right?
Lord.
Now you
Don't
have
get
a
me
sitting
started.
Supreme Court whose wife we're going to talk about. Get into that in
I'm
this
embarrassed
hour.
that he was born in Georgia, man.
Let's grab this call right quick. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor Dan. How are you doing today, sir?
How are you doing?
I'm blessed and highly favored
So
by the
I
Lord.
wanted
man.
to ask a question,
Sure.
and it kind of leads to where you're going and where you're at right now. But is it Leah Thomas or Will Thomas?
Who's that?
Is she? Oh, okay. She is. Well, he is the male swimmer who keeps winning by beating all these female swimmers. He's competing in the he's competing as a woman, even though he is an XY chromosomed male with male genitalia. Is he a woman?
You asking us to answer that question?
Yes.
I'm not
yes, I am.
I'm not a physician. So
You're not a physician.
Right. So I haven't examined this individual. So in my business, we always, it's if
Stay
we
in
don't
your
know, we just say alleged or whatever. But I don't have enough information about this subject matter that you're speaking about this person. I'll take your word that from what you described, that it sounds like this individual is not a biological female, and that they still have male parts. So I would, if I saw them, I would categorize that as a male. So based on what you so
I'm glad you said that, because I know personally of a situation, and actually this was broadcast on Fox one evening on Cops
That explains it.
when they took a gentleman, they took a person into custody in full women's dress, full drag. And the police and the guy says, "Well, where are you going to put me?" He says, are you a woman or are you a man? I said, well, I'm a woman. And the police officer asked him one question: do you have male genitalia? And he said, yes. He said, you're going in lockup with the men. Period. End of story.
Okay.
So
I think that you're trying to make a point here, because I want to move on to something else, but I'd love to have you part of that conversation. So go ahead and let's wrap this up, because where are we going with
okay,
this?
really quickly,
Sure.
our current nominee could not answer the question, what's a woman?
Right.
And that disturbs me.
Well, there's a lot of questions, and I get it, because those are those type of setup questions, right? His judges, as
But
she
it's a
said,
simple question.
it's not as simple as you think. When you're someone who's going to maybe looking at cases that may come before them, that just as you described, is right now in this country we're looking to define people based on gender, right? And some people identify, and the country's evolving to that matter, right?
Help me God.
So I didn't have a problem with her answering it in the way that she did. Just like
Larry,
Go ahead.
hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. So let me ask this question, Pastor Dan. Are you or are you not in favor of KBJ being nominated for and approved for the Supreme Court?
I am not in favor of her nomination. I'm happy that she was nominated. Not really, but she was nominated. I am not in favor of her confirmation.
Okay. Are you? Hold up. Are you or were you not in favor of Amy Coney Barrett being nominated and approved of the Supreme Court?
I don't know any. I didn't know enough about her to form an opinion one way or the other.
so you didn't watch those hearings?
So you didn't watch those hearings
I
at all
did
with
not.
her?
I don't think I did. No, that
What-
didn't hit my.
what-
That didn't hit my radar.
And why did this
The
one?
last one, because I'm watching what they did. I'm remembering what they did to Justice Kavanaugh when they went back, even beyond his LSATs. They went back to his high school to ask him about his drinking and what drinking games were played at his high school parties. So I know that Dr. Bradley, would you weigh in on this issue, please? Because you are a born-again believing Christian, if I'm not mistaken. I think you said that
Yes, I
out
am.
loud.
Yes, I
Am I correct about that before we go on?
Yes, you're correct. You're correct about that.
Okay. Would you please weigh in on this? Because I would like to know what you think. How do you feel about this?
About what?
About what about the your first situation with the
I forgot my
about the man
I forgot my name.
being portrayed
Yes.
as a woman?
about the gentleman competing in the women's sport and whether he's a male or a female, and from a Christian point of view, what should be our stance when it comes to these type of questions?
Well, from my perspective, you are what God said you were. That's how I process it. You are what God said you are, and if you subscribe to, if you have male genitalia, you still have the hormones and the strength of a male. I have an issue with you competing with the females unless you can prove that you are. You have you don't have that strength advantage over them. That's how I see it. But that's just me as a Christian. I think you are what God said you are.
617.
Then we are in complete agreement on this.
617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. You're listening to At the Round Table with Ma'am Leo. Dan, what were you saying?
But I think you're missing. I
Dr.
think,
Bradley and I are once again in complete agreement.
but I think
The
you're
Bible
mixing.
very clearly states
So now that you
that-
have that kumbaya on the judges, I want to switch gears. Well, pivot a little bit, I should say. This recent announcement with Virginia Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife, the text messages between her and Mark Meadows, and his wife has every right to her opinion and everything. But do you think Clarence Thomas should now recuse himself from any cases that have anything to do with January 6th, and that you think it's just a coincidence, Dan, that he's the only dissent in releasing these records, and now, in my opinion, we know why he didn't want them released, because he knew his wife's text messages would be contained in that, because she was so close to the president and the chief of staff. Do you find this troubling? But you find, Miss Jackson, Justice Jackson, being confirmed a problem? You wouldn't know, but we now have someone currently sitting on the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, who has been compromised, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion. I think if you look at this fairly, not just an attack on Clarence Thomas, he's entitled to his opinion, but when she says in there that, her best friend, she's consulted with her best friend about these things, she's not talking about her girlfriend. And the fact that he, like I said, his rulings now make sense. They line up with his conversations with his wife.
Okay. Here's the thing. When it comes to spouses and husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and your family is your family. I think that she is entitled to say what she wants to say, and
not when your family. Dan, okay, let me just stop you. No. Let me. Okay, and I'm gonna let you finish that. But you're trying to. This is not family who doesn't have access that his wife has to the chief of staff of the president of the United States. We're not talking about apples and apples here. All right, we're talking about someone. It's one thing if your family is out there in the public and they're talking, her going to the protest, which she had every right to, but communicating, and your husband is deciding on whether or not information is going to be released. You don't see a problem with that. That's not just family. But go ahead, finish.
Okay, short answer, no. And I don't see a problem. If you think about it, if you look back, remember Billy Carter, the drunk. Remember Billy Carter, the drunk, who was the brother of the president? Mm-hmm. No. I think as Americans, we have the inherent right to say what's on our mind. So I don't have a problem with it one bit. It wasn't Clarence Thomas saying it. It's his wife. End of story.
I was not given an opportunity to explain my piece on him because I want to make sure that he understands where I'm coming from with this male female.
I'm going to have to go.
Okay, you can go.
I'm in my truck right now.
This
I'll give a call back when I'm able to do it.
I think you are who God, as a man of Christ. I think you are who God said you are.
Yeah.
I think when we actually talk from his perspective, his argument, you're mixing government and state.
Yeah.
You know, right? He just said it. You have a right to make that decision on your own. But that is relationship between you and God.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. That's why you have the vertical piece on the cross, and you have the horizontal piece between you and me, but you also have a vertical piece between you and God. Mm-hmm. You have to answer for that. I don't have to answer for that. Right. You know what I mean? So does a person have a right? She has a right to speak. He has a right to change his genitalia, his gender. But you know what? But as it relates to Scripture, you are who God said you are.
Right.
Period.
Right.
All right. And so I don't want him to nudge me into a corner and say we agree with it, because Scripture says one thing, but you in government you have a right to make that decision under our government.
But it's
structure.
also the hypocrisy in Dan's statement. Like you said, if it's Fox News, it's factual. It's accurate.
That's what I said. That's now I understand the source.
Right.
Because he's listening to Tucker Carlson and all those fools.
And so you can go out there, but he will not talk about, like you said, and it's just. Well, now it's related to Jimmy Carter's brother. Mm-hmm. This is not the same. Jimmy Carter's brother is not deciding law, right? We understand the politics. Yeah. It'd be one thing, like you said, a lot of people talk to Donald Trump, political. But the Supreme Court is supposed to be that other branch, separate branch of government, right? Mm-hmm. But they're the ones who decide the laws, have the final say, have more power. A lifetime appointment. Mm-hmm. So it's not the same. And to try to put him in the same category with Jimmy Carter's brother is just ludicrous, right? Mm-hmm. So let me just read this article from the Boston Globe this morning. The Washington disclosure that Virginia Thomas, the wife of Justice Clarence Thomas, had sent a barrage of text messages to the Trump White House urging efforts to overturn the 2020 election brought into sharp focus the conflict of interest her political activism has created and the lack of clear-cut remedy. It is one thing in experts' legal ethics, said Friday, for the spouse of a Supreme Court justice to express political views, even ones shot through wild conspiracy theories, which she has. That may not by itself require the justice's recusal from cases touching on this view. I agree. But the text messages from Thomas, a longtime conservative activist who goes by Jeannie, reveals something quite different and deeply troubling, experts said. Mm-hmm. The message from Thomas to Mark Meadows, mock medals President Donald Trump's chief of staff sent during and just after the fraught weeks between 2020 presidential election and the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol demonstrated that she was an active participant in shaping the legal effort to overturn the election.
Yes.
I'm not sure how I would have come out. I'm not sure how I would have come out if we just had a lot of text from her saying that this is terrible, said Amanda Frost, a law professor at AMU in Washington. But she wasn't doing just that, Frost said. She was strategizing. She was promoting. She was haranguing. The texts were among 9,000 pages of documents that Medal turned over to the Congressional Committee investigating the Capitol attack. Democrats immediately seized on the disclosure to draw attention to the conflicts they said that were presented by Jeannie Thomas's political activities and to press Justice Thomas to recuse himself from cases concerning the election. And in its aftermath, Senator Rod Whiting, a Democrat from Oregon, said that Justice Thomas's conduct on the Supreme Court looks increasingly corrupt, and that he had been the lone dissent in a case that could have denied the January 6th committee records pertaining to the same plot his wife supported.
And now we know why he was alone.
That's right. Justice
Alone
Thomas
dissent.
Wyden said needs to recuse himself from any case related to January 6th investigation, and should Donald Trump run again, any cases related to the 2024 election. But Justice Thomas, who was released from the hospital Friday after being treated last week for flu-like symptoms, has been a long pillar of conservative establishment Republicans. Even those who have distanced themselves from Trump and more extreme wing of the party showed no interest in pressuring him to recuse himself. Thomas's wife's heated and forceful urging Meadows to pursue baseless legal challenges. Biden and the left is attempting, this is her quoting her text, Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history, she said. Jeannie Thomas activists should have prompted Justice Thomas to disqualify himself from cases related to them, said Thomas Gillis, a law professor in New York. He had an obligation not to sit in on any cases related to the January 6th committee or the Capitol invasion, he said. Frost agreed that the situation was an uneasy case. When your spouse is conversing with people who have control over litigation to challenge an election, she said, you shouldn't be sitting on the Supreme Court deciding that the election or any aspect of it. And it goes on. So to our point, when Dan calls with this foolishness about what Fox News, but he doesn't want to talk about this. His truck, he got to go deal with something because he knows that this is not good for a Supreme Court justice. But yet you're gonna say, well, I have a problem with a black woman being the Miss Brown Jackson.
Well, first of all,
Justice Brown Jackson.
I don't. I can't say I'm surprised.
No.
Of him.
No.
That's why I asked the question: do you have a problem with Amy Coney Barrett becoming?
He didn't.
He
didn't sit in on that one.
Yeah, he kind of he punted that.
You know why he didn't have a problem with that, Dr. Brown? And I'll let you finish. Because he didn't have to hear anything. That Fox News and the Republicans were backing her. That was good enough stamp of approval.
They were all supporting it.
Right.
But as it relates to Justice Thomas, and it hurts me to say that, but he should have recused himself. Unfortunately, this is the piece. Unfortunately, there's no ground rules in the Supreme Court that says that you shall recuse. It's up to the justice, him or herself, to actually recuse. And unfortunately, there's no this particular behavior. It will not be deemed egregious enough for him to be impeached by the Senate.
It won't, but I think what it does, it puts a question in the court's legitimacy, right?
Yes, it does.
And I think it even puts more in when people are talking about not court packing, but if you have a justice who you can't get rid of, how do you neutralize someone who you already know that it's not about the law, it's about politics?
Well, speaking of court packing, the last time our court was changed was actually during the Grant administration. Prior to that, it was Johnson who actually reduced it, and Grant moved it up to his current 9 justices. It hasn't changed since then. I think this actually shines a negative light on the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court its rulings are all done by done by justices who are supposed to be erudite and fair in the law, but it damages the credibility of the court when you have someone, wife, who's sending messages like this, and that individual is now the only dissenting judge on a matter concerning,
Dr.
January
Bradley,
the 6th.
do you think that that's not pillow talk? Do you
absolutely it's
do
pillow
you not
talk.
talk to your wife about things that
Absolutely.
in your classroom or whatever,
Absolutely.
right? Do you think that all of this is not, when she says in one of her text messages, Dr. Bradley, she says, I have been conversing with my best friend about these matters.
I think the only way I don't talk
She's
to
not
my
talking
wife,
about her girlfriend.
The only way I don't talk to my wife about things that are troubling me is she's not speaking to me that day. Which is very seldom happen. You know what I mean? And then we may not talk, but this was a conversation that they had. And when she referred to her best friend, she was talking to her husband.
Excellent.
Come on.
617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. Listen at the roundtable with Ma'am. We're discussing the recent findings of Associate Justice Clarence Thomas sitting on the highest court of the land. Pillow talk with his wife, Mimi Thomas, Virginia Thomas, talking about how deeply she was involved in the insurrection, how deeply she was. I mean, she had access to the chief of staff of the former president of the United States, in her efforts to overturn the election, and her husband. These matters were coming before him in his dissent. So to try to say that that was just, he would have voted that way anyways, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. As far as I'm concerned, that's grounds for impeachment because I think he violated his oth.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? His oath is to protect and preserve the United States Constitution.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Constitution says that Congress has oversight over the executive branch.
Right.
All right, and what they were doing, they were asking within their constitutional rights to see this data, and he actually said no. Only justice that says, actually dissent.
Right, and we know why now, because he knew his wife's text messages were in Mark Meadows' phone.
Exactly.
He knew his wife was talking to the chief of staff. There's no way that she's not telling him the conversations that she's having with Mark Meadows. Are you kidding?
I thought she let the cat out of the bag when she said, I spoke to my best friend.
Exactly.
And that's what she refers to him as. That's her best friend.
Exactly.
So therefore, I mean, the's the link right there.
At the missing link, right? Exactly. It's no longer missing. But yet, at least when Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was asked about would she recuse herself from matters that she's involved with, that she sits on one of the boards at Harvard and another, she said yes.
Yes.
It's the admirable thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Even though she doesn't have anything to do with, but the appearance. Yeah. That's what the appearance, Dr. Bradley, if I'm not mistaken. Even if there's the appearance of impropriety,
it's not good. It's not healthy. The optics here are really not good for the Supreme Court. But on another matter, what really touched my heart is when Cory Booker spoke about.
I don't know if Pastor Hoswell, you would find
when he spoke about KBJ.
Yeah.
It almost brought me to tears.
Well, a lot of people said that.
It almost brought me to tears.
So let's hear his own words. And Pastor Hobbs, if he has that queued up for us, let's hear. This was during the confirmation hearing for.
And I think she's going to be confirmed because I think they really don't need the Republicans, but I think some Republicans are going to actually vote for her.
I'd be surprised. I mean, they're all in lockstep. We could say we're reversing in this.
I think Cheney and Kinzinger and all those guys probably vote for him.
It's only the Senate. They're in the Congress.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's a 50-50 split. I think you might see the vice president casting the tying vote.
I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
you're right.
I know. It's just the Senate that confirms the justices.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I know that.
Thank you very much, Judge. After me, only 5 to go. But sit back for a second because I don't have questions right away. I actually have a number of things I just want to say because this has been not a surprise, given the history that we all know, not a surprise, but perhaps a little bit of a disappointment, some of the things that have been said in this hearing. The way you have dealt with some of these things, that's why you are a judge and I am a politician, because you have sat with grit and grace and have shown us just extraordinary demeanor. You got here how every black woman in America who's gotten anywhere has done by being, like Ginger Rogers said, I did everything Fred Astaire did, but backwards in heels. I want to tell you, when I look at you, this is why I get emotional. I'm sorry, you're a person that is so much more than your race and gender. You're a Christian, you're a mom, you're an intellect, you love books, but for me, I'm sorry, it's hard for me not to look at you and not see my mom, not to see my cousins, one of them who had to come here and sit behind you. She had to have your back. I see my ancestors and yours. Nobody's going to steal the joy of that woman in the street or the calls that I'm getting or the texts. Nobody's going to steal that joy. You have earned this spot. You are worthy. You are a great American. That is the story of how you got to this desk. And so you faced insults here that were shocking to me. Well, actually not shocking. But you are here because of that kind of love. And nobody's taken this away from me. So you got 5 more folk to go through. 5 more of us. And then you can sit back and let us have all the debates. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a well-charted Senate floor because it's not going to stop. They're going to accuse you of this and that. Heck, in honor of your person who shares your birthday, you might be called a communist. But don't worry, my sister. Don't worry. God has got you. And how do I know that? Because you're here. And I know what it's taken for you to sit in that seat.
All right. So there we go. You know, that was really powerful, right?
Very powerful.
And I know why it touched you because it touched me when I heard. But the other piece of it is that the hypocrisy. It's like with Ted Cruz, another one who was calling Donald Trump exactly what he was, a lying, sniveling, coward, cheat, and all that, right? Now all of a sudden he can do no wrong.
He's kissing the ring.
But when he sat there with those charts asking Justice Jackson about these teachings of critical race theory, right, in schools and whatnot, and then we find out it's taught in the schools that his kids go to. This is taught at the private school, not a public school. The private school that his kids go to. This is taught.
You know, the hypocrisy is just no boundary to it.
Right.
You know,
These folks, they have no soul. This way, even if you are a supporter of these people, just like with Donald Trump, just recently, the guy that was standing up there with him for the congressman from Alabama, Mo. He's now withdrawing his support for him. One, because he doesn't think he can win now, but because he had to tell the truth about January 6th. Mo Collins. See, they don't get it. These folks are not loyal to anyone. They will steal your money.
yeah.
They will lie to you.
Yeah. But we still have people that look like you and I who are actually supporting them.
Yeah,
We
unfortunately.
have people that look just like us who actually feel that we're in our
And they
right.
do it at their own
We're in
peril.
our right place in society.
Yeah.
We have people that look just like us who feel that, you know, this young lady who actually sitting before the Senate, going through this very strenuous, in my opinion, unfair beatdown, should not be there because of what she looks like.
And that's exactly what it is, because like I said, as I said to you earlier, Dr. Bradley, this is all to attack that when she gets there, she is so banged up, right, that she is not there because of her qualifications. She is there because she's an affirmative action.
Yeah, and she's more qualified than anybody just sitting there.
But see, that gets lost in all that. That gets murky in all of this, that she's not qualified. She's just there because, you know, President Biden wanted a black woman, and so he put an unqualified one on the Supreme Court, one that's more qualified than any of them that sit there, any of them that probably have sat in the Supreme Court, right? But because she's a black woman, we're going to put her through this. And I commend, like I said, because I don't know if I could have sat there like she did.
I go back to 1638, doctrine of exclusion.
Yeah. So
This is the legacy of it.
right. That's why the history doesn't always want to be told in this country.
That's what it is.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
Well, good morning, brothers.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know that voice from somewhere.
I know it too. I just heard it.
You better be at my meeting today.
It better be working today.
Yeah.
But look, here's what I call for when
Yes.
you talk about hypocrisy. Look, this is something that no one is talking about. And the question I have, let's reverse this. Let's supposing that a black man with a white wife was striving for this position. Now, I'm not talking about Clarence Thomas, because we know. I'm just saying this present situation. Would there be all this support for this black man if he were running with a white wife? I don't think so. So the bottom line for me is that, look, just like Barack Obama, I know folks who know about her history at Harvard. She never dealt with black people. And so when I hear everything in her defense, I'm saying to myself, don't expect any more from her than you got from Clarence Thomas.
Right, and Siddiqui, let me just jump in there on 2 points there, right? You love who you love, and that's not an issue with me, right? Yeah. I don't who you love, and I'm not looking for an expectation, because that's what say elections have consequences, right? So just like with Trump and others, when Biden was elected president, he could decide which person, if he said he's going to put a black one, who it was. My issue is not about who she's with or all that. It is that she is more than qualified to sit on that court. How she decides, I don't know. I don't know how any of them will decide.
But it's not about I don't want to cut you off, brother. Yeah. It's not about qualification. It's about consciousness.
Right, but the fact that, but I have to be honest with
Harvard,
you. Right,
but he didn't date anything but white women. But he knew in order to run for president, he could not have a white woman on his arm. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't love Michelle, but he knew what he had to do to be able to run for that office. What I'm saying is that when you say, it's about who you love, well, hey, fine. I'm just saying that, do you think black women, if it was a brother with a white woman on his arm right now, do you think, because they're out here now just talking about how great she is. If it was a brother with a white woman, then a brother with a consciousness, you better believe black women would be all over that brother. Not talking about support, calling him a traitor, the whole bit. That's what I'm saying. So I understand what you say. You love who you love.
No, I'm not disputing that wouldn't take
society,
place.
And you better not expect any more from her than anybody else. But see, I'm saying based on who you choose as your mate.
Right, but Siddiqui, slow down, brother. That's not, because you're not understanding what I'm saying. As this is not about expectation, anything up from her. What I'm saying is that I'm looking at her, not her partner, not her mate. Is that this woman is more than qualified. I'm looking at the position that she's being asked to serve on. That's the only context here, because, like I said, the president gets to choose who they want, right, to sit in that as their appointee nominee to the court. That's my concern. Is that the attacks on her, that somehow you want to marginalize her credentials as being an affirmative action pick. That's the part that this is not about. Okay. What you're saying. I'm not saying that what you are saying is doesn't have legitimate, not something to be discussed. But this is about her as a black woman, not who she's with. A black woman that she's not qualified for the position.
But qualification doesn't necessarily mean that she's a good fit for
I'm
her.
not saying that she is.
Just like Kamala, I call her Kamala Caramel Harris. Look at her. Everybody's now talking about, what a disappointment she is. Look here. What I'm saying is that if this sister is chose to be with a white male, then it gives you a mindset of where she's at in terms of what her decisions are going to be. Qualification. You could have a PhD and be in the KKK. You know what I'm saying? So qualification doesn't fit here. Look at. I'm just saying. I just brought up the issue about what the response would be from the community, particularly black women, if it was a brother with a white woman.
No, I think because I've listened to a lot of black women, and I think what their response was, because even if they are with a black man, that because they're a black woman, they're treated in the same manner. It's not. So it wouldn't matter, and they know that even if she was with a black man, she would be treated the same way, probably a little even worse. Because we all know the vice president's husband is white as well. And like I said, I don't have an issue. That's their choice. Like I said, you love who you love. It says, it's always that we have to be 10, 20, 30 times better than someone else. I mean, even like you said, President Obama, the disrespect that they showed, not to the office, when he was addressing Congress, and one of them the congressman called him a liar in the Congress. That would not take as much as Trump lied. They didn't call him a liar.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying.
So that's what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is that Obama, he did nothing for black people.
I don't disagree with you. This is what I'm
Well,
saying.
he did
We're
nothing
not
for black people.
disagreeing on
He
substance
even
today.
said, him and Caramel Harris have both said they're not going to do anything in particular for black people. I mean, the bottom line is it's a mindset. I'm saying this is with all the qualified brothers that are out there at Harvard, she never dealt with black people. I got that from legitimate folks. I'm just saying it's one thing to be qualified, but it's another thing about your mindset in terms of when you're qualified and you got a critical vote coming up that affects black people. You're saying to yourself, which way is she going to go?
Well,
You got to say that because she's sleeping with the enemy.
What I'm thinking here, although I'm listening to you to go, I think you're both saying the same thing in a different way. Hold up, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sadiqi's position is, and I'm just reflecting here, she's not going to do anything for us anyway. My position on this is, even if she was sleeping with a black man, she couldn't do anything for us in the system because the system doesn't allow it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the issue is not that she's not going to do it. The issue is that the system will not allow her to do it. She got to get to where she is by being with someone that looks like who is in control. The issue is the system.
Right.
So in order for us to actually be fair, treated fairly by the system, we have to rethink the system. That's where I'm going.
Well, I don't know. We got some sisters out there that are outspoken, that are within this system that represent us in the electoral field.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that the bottom line is that, irregardless of the system,
That's not why that's why they're not there.
If you got a mindset about advocating for your people, because there are sisters out there that are doing that right now that are in elected office, it's a mindset. So I'm not saying she's a terrible person. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if in fact it was reversed,
No,
and it was
Siddiqui, like I
Larry
said,
or the deputy running.
we're talking about some of the things. Just in, what I'm saying is that I don't. They're attacking her credentials, right? And her credentials say she's more than qualified for the job.
I agree
right?
with that.
The other stuff you can debate whether or not what she's going to do for black people or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. Is that this is not about that. This is about making it look like she is not qualified for the job.
Which she really is.
Well, we expect that from them. I'm talking about us. Like, do you think that Harris is qualified to be vice president?
I wouldn't have voted for her. No, I see her now, and I'm like,
But
I'm not
Donald Trump
impressed.
wasn't qualified to be
Her
president.
credentials say that she's qualified, but she put a whole lot of black men in prison when she was the DA in California.
But here's the thing.
Whatever she
I'm
was,
not.
yeah.
But see, this is what I'm saying is that just like Donald Trump was not my pick. I don't. People when they get in certain positions have a right to pick who they want. To try to discredit that she's not qualified. That's what this is about. I get what you're saying about whether or not what they're going to do for this segment or whatever. I understand that, and I respect your opinion on that. My issue is not that issue of what they're going to do for us. Is that I see what's happening here, because even if it was someone actually that was going to advocate for all the things that you say, they would be even harder to try to get them confirmed, because they would be trying to make them out to be some radical agenda. And
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
I'm saying is that you would never get them.
I think it's two different horses.
Right.
Qualification for doing the job and what they would do for their people are two different issues
Right.
here.
Right.
I really do, because
Right.
I think both sides of the argument is legitimate.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would say that the system doesn't allow it. You know, that's why these outspoken women that Siddiqui mentioned are still outspoken and try to get to where she is, because the system will not allow that level of complaint to be in that position.
We've got about a minute left. Let's bring it home here locally. Yeah. Dr. Bradley, we know that there are people who are qualified. They're looking for a police commissioner right now. Mm-hmm. That would be a perfect person to advocate. But we're not together advocating for those type of people. Yeah. We're not advocating for the representation. Yeah. But the message on the street is that you can't act like them if you want to get ahead.
Exactly.
Right. So people like us will never be leading, because
you're going to threaten the
status quo. Right.
You're going to threaten the status quo.
Right.
That's why they have to play that role that they have to play to get to where they are.
Yeah. They're like, okay, they go for self. So the people that do go out there, they don't get the support that they need. Well, we got time, Pastor Hosmer. So Siddiqui, we got a minute. We're going to give it to you.
Well, I just want to say that I sure would have liked to seen a picture of her hugging a black man at the hearing. You know what I'm saying? That would have been in terms of not only in terms of what I would like, but I'm saying our young people and understand the fact that, we always talk about the black queens, what we have, but, we black kings.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to demonstrate that in terms of how we feel about each other. Because I'm just saying that the picture for me is like, look, for me, I put in a caption on Facebook saying, did I do good, Massa? With that picture with her being kissed on top of her head by her husband.
Well, Siddiqui, we know your history. We love you, brother. Like I said, I'm just looking at qualifications.
Don't forget my meeting.
In this instance.
It's going to be working. Is a link working today?
Yeah. Dr. Brian wants to know if you're going to feed him because usually he don't stop by unless there's a meal.
I'm going to feed you with information.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Siddiqui.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
My sister says if Clarence Thomas' wife was black, she would still have a problem with Clarence Thomas.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a great analogy.
Which is a good analogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about what's coming out. What is he supporting?
That's right.
It's not about his bride.
Yeah.
But I hear where
all your skin folks ain't your kin folks.
I hear where he's
We'll
going
leave
though.
it at that.
But the system won't allow it. Though.
Right.
I'm telling
all
you.
right. We're
Will
gonna
not be
take
there.
our break, and you're listening to At the Round Table with Manley. We'll be right back.